Robbie and I actually. Double press.
Double press. We got no cheese.
Right here. Thank you.
We got the regular St. Carlos. Did you want a sandwich?
I'm good right now, actually. Maybe later. Thank you.
Okay.
So this kills him.
Yeah, that was really fun.
That guy brought it. It's so funny.
I didn't think there were so many net puns.
I know.
Is like, dude, the top tickets and the gift card. Yep, exactly.
That's right.
Have you had Sun Harbor before? Yeah, it's the key line. Key line class. It's working like creams on it.
So we just gotta post it everywhere.
Perfect.
It's like
For us, it's good.
Good stuff. Like melted cheese on there. That guy was so
So that's the official stream that I texted you guys. So feel free to post it wherever.
sorry.
What? Yeah, YouTube. Go ahead.
Yep. I don't actually just down there right now. I got one that plays. Sorry.
I'm gonna post it on the Facebook. This the link, right?
Yeah. And I'll tweet it.
Perfect. We can't do one for Instagram, right?
Originally, I looked at. I had it. Weird to have right. I have seen it from here, but this I didn't go to last time. I haven't ordered. That's awesome. One week, pretty good actually in Greece. I think 4 nights.
Let's do this section from like. Let's do it. Let's do it right. How's it going? How's your daughter doing?
She's good. Awesome.
How old is she?
First grade.
Oh my God. Good luck, right?
Next year might increase our tickets from 2 to 3.
I was gonna say,
Now, I have her during the week. So if you look at the schedule, like we're going to bring her to go to every game on Saturday. Yeah. And then there's a bunch of 3 or 4 Wednesday games there. So they're all He's in town. You never know, you might do it.
Hey, on that board. No, we don't. You have to be specialized ones. One's like, oh, you come to that 2 days, for instance. Yeah, that's still the board.
Well, it's on the product.
Yeah, no, Molly's expert.
That's what I was telling you guys when I was talking about like the starting guys probably.
That's the way to do it. It's a perfect place to promote.
I printed this out.
Awesome.
What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Hey, which one of you guys want to take it?
That was gonna be. I'm gonna talk in a second, but Wally should be coming on because Dana's at 10:15, and then Matt's gonna be at 11. So what's the Instagram log? What's the past
SGCU 2000. Do you guys have something on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We can put YouTube on the TV. We can put us on there. Yeah.
I don't have volume, but it's just like.
It'll look cool though. Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, yeah, it went through, man. The Wallace. It did. No, John. We did some live videos.
We're just getting set up in. There's the ball. There's the ball, bro. It's pretty sick. Up here.
Oh, I
Got
see.
a whole team
Okay.
on there.
Story and whatnot? Yeah. Well, I thought it was a live version.
When did you guys get that?
We got it, like, we picked it up probably 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because my buddy Nate, because they all live on the East Coast, so he came down to my house, and then he came back home and picked it up from FGCU. But
Did you go to FGC?
yeah, I graduated in 2010.
Oh,
Yeah, we all went to FGCU, and 3 of us are alumni.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
People that don't
So,
know.
where'd you go? Where'd you go from?
No, for sure.
11 to 15.
Sweet. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So you're pretty new. Cool. So yeah, you came back from. When did you get back from LA?
Basically a month, almost. Yeah.
Oh man, awesome.
It was great. But came back to
Are you from originally from down here?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is home. Yeah.
This is like
That's awesome.
You're Dawson. High school. Yeah. So my name is Dawson. Nice to meet you.
Nate.
Nate.
Nice to meet you.
I get to listen to you guys all the time. So I
Do appreciate it.
So Nate and I mostly do the podcast. Chase will come on too, and Rod's been doing a lot of the graphics and stuff like that. So like new pictures and stuff like that. Like halftime, finals. The better ones that are coming out, coming from him. So
nice.
yeah, man, we're just all like a work in progress. You know, there's like 4 people in 4 different areas of Florida, so but it all comes together. We always talk FGC basketball, and so we're like, why don't we just try this out and see what happens? So it's been just Coach Blythe's been
Where do you guys all
incredible.
live? You live around here?
I live in Tampa. I live near
Oh, you live in
Tampa,
Tampa?
Palm Beach, yeah, and then he's in Cape Coral. They're both on the East Coast,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, we're from everywhere, bro.
But it's nice though during like games and stuff.
Oh
like,
yeah,
there's somebody
we're
who's
still
there
not
for
far.
I don't skateboard, and I tried to skateboard. Because some of my friends are like, so like, I just came back and they were like, just like, I mean, there's this place in Fort Myers, it's like a skate shop thing, but like, there's like a little mini ramp. So I like dropped in. I did fine, but I like forgot how to fall, you know, because I used to know how to like really fall up. And like, I went down and then I was coming back up. And then like, tried to do like a little like rocket thingy on it. And like, when I was coming back down, I like rolled the leg, this leg like kind of on the board, this leg like kind of stayed back, so I literally just like fell on the way down. So I was like landed right on my foot.
Oh,
Great, great.
Yeah, I know I had fractured like lower fibula, so technically my leg was.
Ouch. Sucks, man.
It's cool. It's only like a 6 weeks in the boot. There's like cast.
Your surgery, yeah, man. That's what gets everybody.
It felt like it. I was like, but turned out it was worked out.
So what time did we say, Dana?
10:15. Yeah. I figured at 10 just to give us like a heads up, but. So what do you think so far, bro? You got any new drops yet?
What's up?
You hear the new drops we put in there? Around the Asan and
Oh, yeah.
those, bro. It's like new, so we kind of
On the first episode thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It's like more, it's become more like legit.
Yeah. I figured like we're trying to like
It's like
stuff.
FGC needs like, because they just need like things like this. To, like,
Yeah, man.
So that's what I'm super excited.
See, we'll just pay attention.
Yeah, there's just not many of these things for like mid-majors.
Facebook does a good job giving updates on like the sport and stuff.
Yeah.
Making the analysis. You
Yeah.
guys are doing all of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
It's
so
pretty
no one's
easy.
like talking about it, especially younger people. So like, for the most part, it's like all older people that are
Yeah, bro.
Cool. There's a good amount of
So you follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Which ones? We're gonna get you the tickets. Make sure you get the non-tickets. Follow us on
I think just Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, and then cool. Okay, so you get some tickets.
And then also Facebook too, maybe get an extra ticket for the back.
Yeah.
If you want to go.
Okay, so I might. I'll check.
Okay.
If not, I'll
Give you a good chance to win that. That thing's pretty sweet.
That thing's
Yeah,
pretty
no.
I'm
sweet.
not gonna lie, like, we're all a little upset that we're not gonna
Yeah.
I think you find out. I think you find out that for sure.
I mean, I just saw Twitter. I'm pretty active
Cool.
on Twitter.
Sweet.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram. It was a while ago too.
Awesome. Yeah, you've been since last year.
I mean,
bro.
anything I see, I'm like, oh yeah. It's just like, you see that. Me and my buddies come into,
Sweet.
and like because we were there during the run and everything. So like, ever since then, we like.
It's kind of hard not to love it, man.
I know. So I was like involved in it. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
It's good to know that.
Yeah, we'd all graduated.
yeah, there's a bunch of people that I know too. Like everyone just kind of like people moved.
I remember going to Whole Foods for that Mercer game. That sucked.
Yeah, me and my friend like we went to like 2 years ago. We had, like, I'll like make trips out of it to like other games sometimes. So it was like that Ohio game that 1 year, 2 years ago when we started the season.
But you're in LA?
No, I'm back
There's
now.
the man.
But I'm in LA. I was in LA.
What's up?
last year. Actually,
You got a pen?
USC game.
Let's see it.
I went to. I was in Knoxville, Tennessee for a bit. So I got really into like basketball.
Try your name on it too.
I was trying to look it up.
Like I say, you get one for this for each of the social. Which did we get? We got a split this one.
Just different.
We need that one.
Right.
Eagles ass cast.
On this.
What's your last name?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
There he is. That's it. Awesome.
You're having a hard time down.
Then it's like,
What's up, Matt? How you doing, bro? Thanks for coming, bro. We're excited to have you.
Nate.
Yeah, we're just getting settled in.
Did we get the basket? She's able to get us any kind of basket. Even one of these ones that have like the napkins in it. I just don't want to lose.
Steal it.
Technically, I would call it borrowing more than stealing. That sounds like such a negative word. Perfect. Leave the pen here for everybody. So, do you want to just put those on your side over there? Yeah. Just to have them there, and then if you the ones you get, we'll put over there.
Honestly, maybe like you should have it in the other side of it because we got the ones that have your name on them.
I think we can do this. I think you can, yeah. I think so. I still don't have ratio already. And I haven't said literally anything about anything.
We just keep losing these guys, man. Especially at 4.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't like it. Even last year, I was like, I know he's hurt something. I'm like, I can see that he's just kind of like,
He's not in it, man.
he's just like, he just like looks like he's just like flopping around. Like he's not like, I'm like, dude, like, he's ready.
They don't get anything.
I know, right? No, when I heard that, I was like, that's,
It's awesome, bro.
but, I mean, I think once you get Brian Thomas,
Yeah, Brian. Big presence, man. He's a big
I
presence.
wish Gilmore didn't leave.
I know. Look back to these.
That's so, I've never heard of that. Like, come for half a year and then go back to the same school. I didn't think that was possible, but I guess.
I feel like Baxter is like a good.
Yeah, but I'm starting to think of it as Gilmore State. We didn't have to in Gilmore. Yeah, Zach State.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We would be so good.
I
was gonna look up. Isn't that Zach? But
Yeah, but he's putting in 20 minutes and put up like 5 points.
Yeah.
That's not the Zach Johnson beat ever.
But good ones, kill.
Yeah, he is.
That's great. He's like averaging more than Javon Carter. Yeah, he's like got 28, something.
He's athletic, man. He's so quick. It's great. Watch him play, man.
Yeah, if he was like an inch or two taller, I think he would have.
Like he would already be probably.
Yeah.
He just needs like a few injuries. If he gets like some emphasis, he gets
Actually, Brandon's good money.
Hey, there you go. Total. Yeah. That's awesome.
One spot.
Yes, there you go. Wow, the guy on pressure walked by me. That's just it. Watch our asking for
But if we get like scattered, just want to go out tonight or something.
Yeah. Cedric's a beast.
You said
You're good. Yeah, dude, it's shit.
I always went in there.
That's the way it's like. Listening to you guys, if I were talking to you, if I walked up to Chevy Chevy, I'd feel like a TV and you'd be like, who's Chevy? I didn't know you guys said that. He's like, bro, Cedric.
You can go on the website and they have like things you can listen to, and it's the player actually pronouncing their own name.
There's so many players who are like, I have no idea.
So it's Cedric. Yeah.
We live with Dana.
Yeah,
He talked to you, and now he's like on the game. Okay.
Or the bracket. He doesn't have the bracket. He always goes out for the cost of those.
So don't do that with him.
He doesn't know any of the teams. They're guys who just making sure I understand. Phil Davis on for a double. But like Illinois State, that was a
You said no, and don't come to the scene.
That's fine. That's fine. Whatever he doesn't want to say.
That's what these guys over here.
You guys, how long do you need? I said 30 minutes.
Yeah, probably less than this.
That's cool. So give us a couple questions about what we're
talking about.
Maybe. So let's talk to him before we go on and tell him what we're trying to do and everything.
Yeah, just go ahead.
So you guys just doing something
Live.
on what? Just on the website? Or on the website? I haven't actually been on the website, but I'm gonna check it out.
That's what I run it. But we're gonna do this here in line. We have 1,065. That's our base. And we look at YouTube. We're gonna do the YouTube live and save it. Or we split it up into different sections. How often we miss that. And it's more interaction. I want to do more videos. I heard
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so you know what I do right now. So, well, I'm doing real estate down here too. So I do I do a lot of editing stuff like social media and stuff.
you use Filmora.
What's up?
You know Filmora? It's like Blender Share.
Is there an app?
Editing
Oh,
software.
I used to be here. Adobe, yeah. Yeah, I used to be. Yeah, I mean, I do it professionally. I work there. Well, I do a monthly subscription for all the Adobe software. I mean, that's what I got. I worked on like production and stuff. It's kind of what I've been doing like the last 5 years. Yeah, like I've done, like when I was in LA, well, my friends are like in a pretty big band. So they like, I was like, but one of the videos, 29 they're from Tennessee, so that's why. But my buddy just worked with HETV. But when I was in LA, I was doing stuff with them, but I also got opposite. Like, I was doing like Under Armour commercial. I was just like reviewing. I was like a little bit. Yeah.
We're going to the street round about 3. I get some good videos.
I could, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm
Yeah, so just you guys got the middle of this jack.
You sit here?
Yeah.
Sit right there.
Yeah.
We got your stats right there, Dana.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a 6 or 7 page or so. It's a lot. There's only one page obviously for FGCU, but you know who it's going to be centered around.
So I'm gonna push this out just a tiny bit more.
Sure. Put it wherever you want. Oh, this is yep,
that's us.
okay, I thought it was
So-
just a radio thing, but that's fine.
Nope.
That's fine.
So hi everyone.
I don't put on my dress.
Yeah. You got Nate, Jack, and Dana Caldwell from the Naples Daily News here talking FGCU basketball. Today, of course, we have the opener against the Division I team against South Dakota State and Mike Dom. So, Dana, if you could just tell us your thoughts on South Dakota State and what we can expect from the guys in this game.
Well, you know, with Michael Fly, the Eagles are always going to look to push it, really actually push it. South Dakota State, really tough on the boards. Obviously, that's been a big, humongous problem for FGCU thus far. Of course, they're playing without two forwards, one of whom will no doubt start Rayshawn when he comes back, and the other Brian Thomas, the sophomore who will alter shots and really hit the boards, etc. When you look at South Dakota State, they're not going to want to get up and down the floor as fast as FGCU. In fact, the last time this game was played 2 years ago, it was a 56-52 South Dakota State win. So that kind of gives you an idea of what they're going to want to do. Obviously, Mike Dong is the guy for them, the senior power forward, I believe 6'10", with a good bit of muscle. Gary Parrish calls him the third best power forward in the country. I think he averages about 17 and 10 or 11. Very formidable player. So that's going to be a huge deal tonight, especially with FGCU so short and fast. So it's going to be a big contrast to styles. One, can the Eagles push it? Can they actually get stops, which were almost impossible to come by in the second half against Michigan State? And then can they force their will? Can they push the Jackrabbits?
Yeah, that Michigan State game was such a high-scoring game, especially for college basketball, where you normally see, upper end of 70 to 80 is like a high-scoring game. And you had Michigan State breaking over 100. Yeah, Michigan State breaking over 100 and us breaking 80, which is just, I think it's phenomenal for the game, having high-scoring teams like that.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. That second half against Michigan State really kind of reminded me. I used to cover the Razorbacks, and they played Loyola Marymount back when Loyola Marymount was coached by Westhad, and averaged about 130 or 40 points a game. I kid you not. So I actually covered a game where Arkansas beat Loyola Marymount, not Loyola Star. It was like 140 to 120 or something like that. And that's what the second half of the Michigan State game kind of reminded me of. I'll tell you a little funny side note on that. So Fly gets through with the game and goes to shake Izzo's hand, and Michael apologized. He said, "Coach, sorry, we just didn't play the defense." And he said, "Son, did you watch us in the second half at all?" So, it's kind of that time of year where offenses are kind of looking for identities and defenses are kind of, doing the same thing. Usually defenses are ahead of the offenses at this point. FGCU, for instance, Fly told me they really focused on offense at first because they focused on defense at first. Felt like they had that down, like they were going to be a really good defensive team. And so then he went into his offense, which, as we all know, he's spacing it out just a ton more. They're like 5 feet deeper at almost every position than they were under Joe. And, just working on not being so systematic, so formulated, to be able to read stuff and react and move and push the ball and things like that. So they worked on that for about a month and a half, and then they lost the defense in the process. So right now, HECU is really working hard to get the defense back. And again, and like Fly said, no excuse, but the Eagles are missing two really key players, and it's hurting them on both ends of the floor. Speaking about defense, I love me some Ricardo Day. When he signed, Michael told me, Fly told me that Ricardo Day would remind us of Bernard Thompson, FGC's all-time steals guy, and all-time scorer. And man, he does. He's 6'6". He's got tons of quickness, loads of athleticism. The kid is downhill all the time. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Ricardo so far.
Yeah, the player I've been most impressed with personally is Cedric. I think that he's just been
Offensively.
phenomenal. Yes,
Offensively.
offensively, yeah. Of course, that's the thing that jumps off the stat sheet the most.
Sure.
Just scoring.
Sure. Yeah. There's not a stat for stop guy from scoring on this many drives. So.
Exactly. I mean, the closest thing is measuring things like defensive efficiency with a player on, plus minus with a player on. But
you're getting into all that Kim Pop stuff. That's just
Yeah.
way over my head. I feel like I'm in college chemistry right
yeah,
What's it?
yeah, it's easier just to do the eye test and say, you can tell that when this player is on, like when we had Kevin Bickle, for example, they could throw him on someone and he would just kind of shut him down.
Absolutely.
For a minute.
Oh yeah. They missed that too. They missed that for a couple of years. Yep.
Yeah. So of course, Rayshawn Scott, we're expecting that he'll be out again in this game. Do you have any insight as to a timetable when we can expect him to return?
The hope, and I think it's more than a hope, I think it's an expectation, is that they'll both be back ready to play in December. And that means like December 1, December 3, whatever the next game is, around the 1st of December. Rayshawn's not out doing half-court things just quite yet. But Brian Thomas with a broken foot, he's doing half-court things right now, and he's quite ahead of schedule. The original hope was to have him for ASUN play, and that's going to be an easy deal. He's going to have several games under his belt before ASUN play, and that'll be hugely important. Now, I talked to Michael yesterday about Brian. How much will he play when he comes back? Because you kind of look at Brian as a big, strong power forward, and you think, well, how does that really mesh into Fly's system? Well, it's going to mesh just fine. And he's much better offensively, Fly tells me now, than he was a year ago. They just need his rebounding and his rim protection so terribly bad right now that even if he was an offensive liability, he would play a lot, and he may start. He may start when he comes back. But that's going to be a really big deal for him to get them. That's going to be a big deal for them to get him back.
Yeah, Brian Thomas is definitely going to be, especially with like no Demetrius Morant. Ricky Doyle, I don't think has the defensive prowess to be a real rim protector.
That's correct.
So yeah, we definitely need that type of a player.
Now Troy Baxter has that in him. He can protect the rim. Now he's been a defensive liability so far, as far as positioning and cutting off drivers and some help. But he's absolutely got a potential to be a really good rim protector. Just how long can he stay on the floor?
So with the team, of course, being under Coach Glide the first year, and the players having to take the time to adjust to his system versus Coach Dooley's system, and the players not having had the play time, thanks, having had as much play time.
You've got
together.
more teeth than I do. We need you in the camera. Had a bad mishap this last couple of months, folks. It's not going to be like this for forever, although I am from Arkansas, so it fits. But anyway.
Yeah, so also with the players not having extended playing time together, only a few of them have ever, had any sort of chance to play on the same court. Ricky, Christian Carlisle, Rayshawn, who's not even able to play right now.
Right.
When do you expect that they'll really start to mesh? Of course, it's getting better every game, and I'm hoping that by the time they get through this Gulf Coast showcase, because it'll be that 3-day little gauntlet, that they'll have really started to figure things out and be able to start stringing together some wins.
I think it's probably early for that. This is really going to be a work in progress. You hear that from every coach every year. We heard it for 5 years. We return 5 starters. It's a rebuild. But anyway, this really is replacing 5 starters They calling it 4.5 because Ricky started about a third of the games last year. But, in essence, it's 5 starters. Brand new system, everything else. Everybody's trying to figure their roles. Honey Cheatham is a fantastic player, but he's trying to figure out his roles. He's never been the man. And I think he may have been taking a little too much of the mantle of being the man at FGCU. And so he's trying to kind of figure that out. He's trying to figure out running the point in this new system. And we're maybe arguably talking about FGCU's best player, still trying to figure it out. And he's been here practicing for a year. And, the kid can play, started Marquette for 2 years, defensive MVP there. So, definitely a work in progress. The bigs, everything is just totally different. There's more rim running. The entire mindset, push is totally different. The spacing is different, which they absolutely love, but it's different. Back screening and edge screening, different things like that are a little bit different under this system. But also is the ad lib. And by ad lib, I don't mean just throwing the ball out there and see what happens, but giving the players more of an opportunity to make the decisions themselves. So that's all a work in progress. Also trying to figure out how to rebound with Troy Baxter and Ricky Doyle and Brady Ernst. Sorry, Brady. Been fantastic so far this year.
Yeah, he's actually so far I feel like he's the most improved player from last year.
I don't think there's any argument about that at this point.
And I really like what I'm seeing from him, especially defensively. Do you think that he can kind of work himself into that defensive specialist role and really being like a shutdown type of guy where you can just throw him out? And do you even think that we might see him on like Dom tonight and that?
Oh, you'll see him on Dom, for sure. It's either going to be Brady or Doyle pretty much on Dom. Troy will probably have flashes with him, but Dom's probably too big and physical. I would agree with you on Brady. Once again, that's a role player. That's a role thing. And one thing they're really trying to do with the bigs is not necessarily inside out so much. Like with Joe, it's always inside out. But when they do go inside, they want their bigs, if they don't immediately attack the glass, they want especially Ricky and Brady, who they consider their best best passing bigs. They want them, and as you've seen, a lot of backdoor action, a lot of things. They want them really looking for stuff. And Brady's been really good at that. He's been great at going to the rim. Obviously, I think, without question, has the most numbers thus far. And he's going to be a really, really key player. He's a tough guy. And tough guys are important, and he really is that. They need him, yes.
So with like the rest of the season, there's a couple big games left. There's the Florida game and
there's a couple.
And the Ole Miss game. What would you say the game you're looking forward to the most for the remaining season besides the South Dakota State game, which I think is going to be a really good game?
Oh, that's going to be a fantastic game. It's the Lipscomb matchups. I mean, there's no question. I can hardly wait for that. They return everybody, a great three-point shooting team. They, maybe most importantly, and his name escapes me at the moment, but they bring back their starting point guard, which they didn't have last year, which is one reason FGC was able to come almost all the way back from, 33, 37 down in the ASUN title game. So they're going to be better, no question about it. FGC's got a lot of going to do before they're going to be competitive with Lipscomb, much less beat them, but I think they'll get there. It's going to be such an interesting contrast in styles because Michael Bly, of course, is not going to wait until the game's out almost hopeless to start pressing. They're going to press immediately. And that's another thing. Another thing about the evolution of this team, they're not pressing at all. I mean, they're doing a little soft 2-3 zone press, not really doing anything. They haven't practiced it hardly at all because they haven't had enough healthy bodies to really practice it yet and to be able to go against them. So that's another evolution we're really going to see. It's not going to get to the point this year where Fly wants it to get to, which is going to be 40 minutes of hell Arkansas.
Yeah, that's what
I covered under Noah Richardson. It's not going to get there this year. This team was not recruited. Most of these players were not recruited for that type of style. It's a difficult thing to learn while also learning 8,000 other brand new things. But starting next year, you're going to see basically 40 minutes of hell from FGCU. But Lipscomb is going to be an amazing contrast because they will be pressing that entire game, no matter what. I don't care if they practice it twice between now and then. They're going to practice Lipscomb the whole game. And, that's just a great story because Lipscomb is that hands down favorite. I don't think there's any question about it. So it's a rare role for FGC, probably since Mercer left them. So I'm really looking forward to those games. I think they're going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying about, this year we're not going to get to where Coach Fly would want the team, especially with the ability to press and to push the pace and really run his system. Because to your point, right, even though he was involved in recruiting a lot of these players, he was recruiting them for Coach Dooley's style, not for his own style.
That's correct.
And I wasn't even expecting that this newest signing class would 100% beat those type of players, because you still had previous relationships that were being built under Coach Dooley, and that it was going to be the next. No, I'm wrong.
No, you're wrong. Everybody
Okay.
that is committed and signed with FGCU, Dakota Parker, I believe yesterday was the only guy to get his paperwork in. That's a very common deal. No, these are all Michael Fly guys.
Okay.
All these guys that you're reading about, all these guys are Michael Fly guys.
So, with that being said, they say normally in college you want to give 3 to 4 years for a coach to really get into the swing of things. Are you expecting that same kind of thing with Coach Fly, or do you think that next year we could possibly arrive a year early? That was kind of what I was expecting with Coach Dooley, and I felt like the year that they went to the tournament and they played in Dayton, that they actually made the tournament a year earlier than I was expecting.
Oh, I think FGCU is almost a coin flip to go to the NCAA tournament this year. I really do. And I got to admit, I have the greatest respect for Fly, the way he handles his kids, his knowledge, how hard these kids play for him, and how much they actually genuinely like him, which is more rare than you might imagine out in the college world. I think next year they'll be much, 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 much better than they will be this year. Next year, I expect them to just run through the ASUN. I really do. I just expect them to run through the ASUN. So I don't think this is a long-term project. I know there's some FGCU fans. I've typed with a few, and I've talked to a couple that are scratching their head, what's he trying to do here? Where's this going? I don't understand this. I don't understand that. Bear with him, folks. He's going to be good here.
Do you expect that Coach Fly will be sticking around with us for a long time? His goal is really to be more like a Mark Few or Brett Marshall type of coach, rather than like a Coach Enfield or Coach Dooley, where they're kind of using this as a springboard to a larger job.
100%. I talked to Michael Fly throughout Joe's tenure, and he got frustrated on some levels, wondering when Joe might leave so he'll get his head coaching opportunity. And I don't mean that bad toward Joe, and I didn't mean that bad toward Joe. It's just, he's just wondering, when am I finally going to get my chance at FGCU? He had a chance to go to Arkansas. It's not really been out there too much. He had a chance to go to Oklahoma State. And we're talking about increasing his salary by about 5 times and increasing his prestige by about 1,000 times. But he hung it out because he wants to be here. He was here when this thing really started to grow. He loves Southwest Florida. He's recently married. He told me on the record for years that if he ever got the job, he wanted to stay here for years and years. He would love to retire here. It's almost like being a preacher, being a coach. It's hard to please people for any longer than 10, 12, 15 years, but that's what he'd like to do. I'm serious about that. Now, would he do that with a $5,000 raise every year? I doubt it. If he was able to go to the Elite 8 or maybe the 16 again, and he was offered by Duke or something insane like that, would he go? Yeah, probably so. But, realistically speaking, he's not going to be out looking for even an SEC job, a Big Ten job. I don't think anything like that. If things play out here and he continues to like his boss, and he loves Kavanaugh, and that goes both ways, I think he'll be here for as long as they want him here. And I think they're going to want him here for a very long time.
I think that's pretty much all the questions that I have for you. Do you have any closing statements to leave us with for what we can expect for the rest of the season, or just any tidbits that you just want to share about the team?
I would just emphasize that fans need to be patient. This is a work in progress. I covered Nolan Richardson's national championship team at Arkansas. And I remember when Nolan came in, he came from Tulsa. And he inherited an Eddie Sutton team. And Andrew Lang was on that team. Andrew Lang went on to play for the Hawks professionally for quite a few years. There were some really talented guys on it. And Nolan, when he took over, he said, Andrew Lang, he's going to be an NBA All-Star. he's talking about the talent that he inherited and everything. So they were horrible. I mean, they were absolutely horrible. So Nolan tries to take an Eddie Sutton team, and that was before the shot clock. We're talking Abe Lemons games where it was 35 to 33 Arkansas, Texas. Just literally ran 4 quarters and some things like that. So for those players to transition from what Eddie Sutton was doing, Hank Ibis type stuff, to what Nolan Richardson wanted to do, which was space age stuff at that point, it took a couple of years. In fact, Nolan pulled back the reins and just said, well, the hell, these kids can't play like this. So he went back and he coached like Eddie coached for half of that season. The very next season, they beat Danny Manning and number 4 Kansas in Bud Walton Arena by 20-something points and scored about 150 points doing that. But anyway, I guess my point is, these things take time. It's not just words in a newspaper. It's not just words on a podcast. It's not just some weird thought out there. It really actually takes time to reprogram players and to change a mindset, to change the system, to change everything else. And oh, by the way, do it with 2 of your best players. Do it with players that were recruited for that style. So again, I would just encourage FGC fans to be patient. Watch the progress. Tonight, not even really caring about the score or putting all that much stock into the score. I want to see improvement. I want to see the defense get a lot better because it's been poor the last couple of years. I want to see the rebound fight get a lot better because it's been horrible the last few years. So just kind of look for incremental steps. By ASUN time, if it's not there, complaints or that would make a lot more sense.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, man.
We look forward to seeing you at the games in May.
My pleasure. I look forward to after the game even more.
Okay. Okay, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great rest of the day. And we are at Wally's Deli, and they got good sandwiches.
Yep.
All right, guys. I'm going to go get my car cleaned out and out of store. Oh, I'm okay, man. It's too early for a sandwich.
It's on the house.
Cheech and Chong sounds right. Later.
There's a few people here.
Oh, I think I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and get this done, but I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. We'll see you tonight.
Okay, guys, so we're going to take a break for a little bit, and when we come back, we should have some more guests for you all. We've got J. Webb Horton and some other people coming on with us today.
I was gonna see you, man. What are we gonna do? You guys sleep better. You know better. You know more. You can keep it down. You get him outside. I know. Pretty much everyone I know. They need to think of it themselves. He's one.
Our Razorbacks cup, weren't you? So you can drink out of it.
Literally, like you watch it, you have to start watching it. After you post it, it's supposed to usually. I wonder if I have another Instagram account. Yeah, that's what I said. Usually, with it not being awesome, I don't think it would be Yeah, I tried to watch it to see if it went. Yeah. It wasn't. I think Instagram's changed because now they're all about stories. I was trying to find messages. Yeah, now I figured. Now it's all about stories. It used to be videos. Yeah. Now it's all about stuff. But your stories are small. Like when you click on our story, it doesn't show what we got our story. And you want to add our story by story. Hey, do you want to do like?
Yeah, I mean, no one's here.
Yeah.
didn't want to wait to Dawson. Just
I peripherally pay attention to the other.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming. I can do that. Oh, it's fine. I'm excited, bro.
You do what you want.
yes, sir. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's not broken. Bro, that's the first time I've had a sandwich. It's so good.
Oh, it's so good. What'd you have?
I'm a Dunk Stage Delight guy, but I went with the San Carlos.
So good, bro.
It is so good, bro. That's
I get everyone.
Hangover's good too, bro.
I get everyone that will listen. They eat that St. Carlos.
That's so good.
It's people are either like, when you tell them, they're like, "What's Molly's Deli?" They're like, "I fucking love that place." It's one or the other.
Bro. That's it, bro.
That's
You guys want to eat now? Oh no, you're gonna catch the mic and eat down so much more.
Welcome to Pregame with the Experts. Owner of Wally's Deli, Wally Crane, joins me next. Wally, thanks for having us. Thanks for taking care of us today with the sandwich and the great food. We love the partnership with you, and we're hoping for many events like this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Let the viewers, listeners, everyone know, how did Wally's Deli start?
Well, I went to FGCU, graduated in 2012. I always just wanted to create a small mom and pop town feel here in Fort Myers. I grew up in Connecticut, where there's a lot of college towns, a lot of old universities, where there's just like that go-to shop for all the students. And that's just something I felt that Fort Myers didn't really have, and I wanted to create, and I wanted to make the tie with the university. That's why immediately we sponsored FGCU Athletics. We got the FGC logo on the door, on the window outside. We do a lot with the university and students, and you'll see them pile in, as well as all the locals in the area. So really just happy and proud to be a part of the community and serve some good food at the same
I think
time.
that's the thing too, because I graduated in 2010. A lot of us graduated 2010, 2011. You know, we didn't have something like this, an alumni-run business, you know, with great food, equitable pricing, and catering and all the events you guys do. You guys are really a focal point of Southwest Florida. The airport, everywhere you look, Wally's Deli. And it's amazing to see an FGCU alumni build a business like this. So local and so close to FGCU, so we're excited to see the future. You know, figured now we talk a little bit of FGCU basketball.
Let's do it.
So you're a season ticket holder. You got your tickets. You're excited.
I'll be at the game tonight. My wife will be yelling.
Yes. Newly married too, guys. Newly married.
Shout out to my wife, Tiffany Benson.
Yes. So we're excited that Tiffany let us do this event. But yeah, so with this team, what surprised you so far? You know, certain players that you've seen try to go off this year. What are your expectations?
Well, I do follow the team closely. I get to know a lot of the players, a lot of our customers here. I get to talk to them, get a little insight here and there. And looking at this season, new team, new coach, I didn't know what to expect. I know we have a lot of transfers coming in, which is exciting. We got guys from Marquette, Iona, Iowa State, and just some big schools, guys coming in who've got experience. And watching that first game, I saw the potential, and it gets me excited about the season.
That's the thing too, you know, this is a different team this year with Coach Fly. There's different philosophies. I think there's a new, basically, I think they're creating a new image of FGCU basketball when it comes to bringing recruits like Cotto and Zach Scott. You're getting people from all over Florida. And I think that the Dunk City run, you know, we still remember that. We can kind of bring back the Dunk City run with a guy like Coach Fly. You bring in Coach Cantons. You're bringing a whole new staff to this team. And I think that the brand that FGCU is becoming is a brand that, you know, you'll see more 3 or 4 star recruits look at FGCU over. Obviously, Zion Williamson, some of these guys at Duke, they're studs. They're going to go to Duke. They're going to be one and done. But if we can, you know, get guys like
like Cato and Scott to play here for 4 years under this system, the team is just going to develop, and you're going to get that chemistry. And with chemistry comes runs, I think personally. And you've got a very senior-laden Lipscomb team, but you have a very young FGCU team that I feel, with the pressure in the backcourt, whether it's pressing, whether it's certain zone defenses, I believe Coach Fly brings a system that is attainable. I think it's a win for us this season.
Absolutely. I think he's going to bring it back to the Enfield days where he's going to let them fly. I could already see that. We hosted Dunk City after dark. We got to see the guys have some fun and throw down some crazy dunks. And they did their scrimmage where I think it was pretty much a dunk contest all the time. But they got some athleticism, they got some talent, and I like that they have some experience in these transfers. And I saw it in that last game, Michigan State, and then what was the game before that?
Yeah, they played Southeastern and Illinois State.
So the Illinois State game, I was able to catch that on TV and watching Casimir. At the end, just that confidence. I even texted my buddy, like, this is the guy. He's going to be.
This is the guy, and this is the guard we've been looking for, honestly. We get him for 1 year. We're happy to have him for 1 year, but it's a situation where you got a guy like Casimir who's going to really lead the guards, the young guards. Like, you're seeing guys like Cato and Scott get minutes, and in the Dooley days, you might not see many freshmen getting minutes.
I texted you, though. I was surprised that
we were
Caleb
vibing about that, man. Caleb got some time. Caleb and his man bun got some time. So, we're excited. These freshmen, I really think that we get a system where we get 4-year guards and, you're going to build up forwards. Hopefully we get Thomas back during ASUN play, and we need Ray to get healthy. Come on, Ray, get healthy, buddy. We need you, buddy. Especially for the Gulf Coast Showcase. I don't know about tonight. We'll see. I don't know the status tonight, but it's just, this is going to be an interesting game tonight. Well, we have one of the premier forwards coming in, Mike Dom, who is just a double-double machine at South Dakota State. And South Dakota State is one of the premier mid-majors. And we got them in the league arena, man. So we got to pack the place. And,
we're going to pack it. We got to get loud.
Bro. We need the Dirty Birds crazy.
My one suggestion for FGCU is that we have a great fan base. We get loud. I think we can get a little bit louder.
I think so, too.
A little more presence, a little more chance. And not just in the last minute, but start from the very first
Shout out to the Dirty
Birds,
man. We need y'all to bring it tonight. We got a green out tonight, so we want to see everybody there. And y'all, you have to check out Wally's Deli. Honestly, I had the San Carlos burrito for the first time, bro. It's night and day. My Dunk City Delight's my favorite for lunch and dinner, but when it comes to breakfast, man, San Carlos burrito. You gotta tell us, Chris Sales Striker. You have so many different names for your subs. And they're so original and so different. You have Cheat Day, the freshman, Yola, Cheech and Chong. Like, how do you get these ideas, bro?
They just come to me. It's just an art, Sometimes I just try to make like a pop culture reference or just play funny twists on words and do some shout outs to things in the community like the Dunk City Delight subs. Chris Sales become a regular here in the off season. He comes by a lot. And I wanted to name a sandwich after him. And what better than the Chris Sales strikeout than a sandwich that's pretty much going to knock you out after you eat it. It's steak and mac and cheese, and it's a real delight. We got the YOLO, which speaks for itself, Cheech and Chong. We have some lighter things too, which the FGC basketball players are here every weekend. They're always getting the healthy stuff. Always eating really well. So it's really cool to see those guys come in, by the way, just all the time. So if you're ever in the shop, you're very likely to catch a player, a coach.
It's neat.
Or someone from the university.
It's neat because, a lot of people probably don't know exactly where Wallace is, but we're very central. It's really less than 10 minutes away.
Less than 10 minutes from campus. It's 5 minutes from the airport. We're on Alico Road. Halfway between 75 and 41. Just Google us, you'll find it. Follow us on Instagram, Wally's Deli Fort Myers. As well as if you're watching this, make sure to follow Eagles.
Yeah. And at Eagles Nest Pass, Wally and Texas on board. We had the bracket challenge last season. We're going to improve for this season. But we hope to do events like this in the future, man. And we're just happy to have you on board with us.
Thank you. As we continue to grow, we want to grow with you.
Yes, sir, man. Good seeing y'all.
You guys go Eagles. We'll see you at your game.
See you guys. Good, bro. Thank you.
That was right on, bro. Killing it.
Just send me a clip and I'll be able to put it.
Yeah. Can you put it on Instagram?
So we'll get all over you, I like mine. Yeah. My house or that.
Okay, your name.
I was just making sure I'm like, we have room if you guys need me to, but yes, well, I would see, I don't know how much time there's. We gotta shoot right threes.
Definitely gotta get that clip where I shout out my wife, like, I got a couple points for that one.
Yes, he's happy to have. Not on board. Or we'll retake one. He shout out his wife. Shout out to him. I said, let me put this event on. She's cool. Very cool. She's well accomplished. That's why I'm like, that's actually seen her right there. This is going good, man. This is going good. Yeah, you can hear it well. Yeah, is it a directional mic too, maybe, or you don't have to worry about the outside of it? You got wireless. Oh yeah. Look at that. Sorry, what's up? What's up, yeah, Rachel. You said beginning of December. Oh, that's
December 1st.
yeah, for him and
What?
Yeah.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
There's too long. So, probation.
I know.
Yeah, for real.
We really need it. That's why I'm happy about
All the tall people signed so far. The seven foot. Oh, it's all.
You can't find anything on this app.
7 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think it. That's what it is. It was on Twitter, but this I think it's a lot of people were seems like they were really saying.
I looked on like the site or whatever I go on, like, and I didn't see his name on there anything. So like any of the things. Or I can see the 25 cents. I don't see it. That should be good.
Wait, what's that?
Yeah.
I know.
Did you go?
I get to vlog and go.
You're a big African fan? I saw it.
We're gonna get a picture of all this stuff. Let's go work out.
You guys usually have the Kardashians on the background.
That's the thing.
Visual.
That's all we need, bro.
Should be some games on too, right?
Yeah.
Isn't
All these like tournaments and stuff.
yeah, some of the early season tournaments should be starting around.
We might donate money to the school. We cut budgets, but we don't have ESPN here. I think
you should get like a fire stick. You should get like a fire stick and like Chromecast stuff too. Or like stream.
but we have it. But we try to not run right now because you guys are doing this. I'm not trying to run too much internet. We've had issues, but I've increased my bandwidth once.
Is it using a lot of it right now?
Right now, I think we have like a pretty big package now. But it used to be we did all Sonos. And then it used to be our POS was running out. Everything ran on Wi-Fi, and at like 2 o'clock, everything would just shut off. So I don't want you guys to have any issues. I'm sure it was
You know that one. You guys, that's I do pictures and rapping. I love I definitely know the players. It's not great. Yeah, it's great. And was that the anniversary?
It was December 2015. So I never read the writers would have been like software. You ever think about moving closer to campus? There's like possibilities of things happening, but I'd always stay here regardless.
He's such a beast. He can know
Which is killing his
That was like he was supposed to be the guy who's Tom's still out.
I was gonna get on
It's always.
What's the other guy you were asking
No,
the school.
There's like the school partners and percentages.
Maybe that's the school.
A little bit, but.
He's out.
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's like everything
That was
I
one
want
thing.
to injury. It's not too good. I'm in sixth place. They're doing
Yeah.
this right now. Max, you should.
That was a possibility. I went there last night.
Because I'm playing on this week.
There's good luck. That way I didn't work on something that might.
Which is funny. He's actually everybody always looks like they're going to do your their money in swing class.
I'm just excited in the morning.
Every time, like I'm not joking. I gotta crush some people. No, you crush some people. I've been so man. It's been close. You know what's weird?
I talked to you Brad, I was gonna get all good like love it.
I literally was driving and thinking to myself, he's got my say something about it. After wait for it, I said, no, he's like, so bad.
Well, the point is awesome.
Fire season, 8-2 this year.
You get along. You'll see when we get 50.
I saw it earlier.
Oh yeah,
I was doing right 2014.
See, I was going for it. My friends are the cameramen on the show. Oh yeah. And then they said
What's my slow?
We'll do better. We'll probably do another one if you want.
Yeah.
Probably it's Saturday morning, but it's always
One game where
We should get like, we should do like take a picture of like every guest. And just, like,
yeah, Saturday morning.
it's all students here. What's the date? That's why I'm
Well, what you can do is like, you can put stories. Yeah, post it and then like post it and then like you can post like that and like talk to it. Put a story and then like we gave like the two do it all. So that way, because a lot of people only are watching in the moment, right? People could like see it in like an hour. Oh, this is
What is that with Dana?
I started January.
Can I get a picture of you just that day?
I can send you this picture. I can send you this picture if you want. I can send you this.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take one.
I just send it to you. What's your number?
321.
848.
This is 4-1.
I have to lose at least 2 games in.
I'll just put them all on. They allow that. Makes me throw that out. I never saw that. Thank you. I saw you.
Hey, Jack, we're gonna reproduce what you're doing, what you just did, but we're gonna take pictures. We didn't get a picture of Dana talking.
I got a picture of Dana. I got a photo. Oh, yeah.
I got a picture of Dana on the big cars. I know, for real.
This Molly's even just that, bro.
Sit where you were. You get in position. You got a fake microphone.
Fake it, bro. Fake it till you make it.
Try to get the Wally's Deli in there.
Yeah, try. There you go, man. It's all about angles. You know how it is. I got a picture of Dana and Nate already. I'll send it to you.
Awesome, bro.
Really trying to avoid the camera. It's good now. That's gonna be around there. They were good. Yeah, 25. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Make sure it's
Make sure you guys
Hey, do you want, is the mic gonna be in the way if we lower it? I feel like it's just catching the top of you guys' heads.
No, I just don't know how to lower it, like without, or maybe I can do this.
That's, you can get it right there, that's way better, man, that kind of like,
Right there?
yeah.
That's
You're not
good.
catching the mic, are you?
Well,
Nope.
There you go.
Welcome to Pregame with the Experts. Color Sports Insider Matt Rothman's joining us. Welcome to Pregame with the Experts, Matt. We appreciate your hard work, bro, and thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Matt, tell us about what you do for Color Sports Insider.
So I just started working with College Sports Insider about a year. It's been about a year, but I started to pick up my work with FGCU Athletics. We're trying to break in with FGCU a little bit. We don't usually necessarily do like recaps and previews of games. We kind of like feature something in particular. So starting off the men's basketball season, we started off with, some things to look out for. What are some of the key games this season? What some key players? We did some things that you could see this season with Coach Fly.
Yeah, you did a really good interview with Coach Fly, and I think that people that don't know about CSI, Color Sports Insider, you can check it out. I think that it's building, and like we talked about earlier, you're trying to build it where it's FGC oriented, athletic wise. You guys are doing a lot of high school sports and stuff like that, right?
That's a lot. We do a lot of volleyball. That's Greg, who's in charge, does a lot of volleyball. Gets a lot of people that read it. And one thing I started doing along with another kid is tried to break in with FGC a little bit. And Michael Fly's been a real big help for us. He's been retweeting some of our stories. He set up an interview with me. I know you're going to ask about the interview, but
definitely.
Yeah, he wanted to talk on the phone. I was like, can we set up an interview? And he's like, I want to do it on the phone. I don't want to do it by email. And wants to do it whenever I need help. So he was a big help for us, and I think the FGC should great hands with him.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that point that you just made, Matt. FGCU really, when it comes to the transition from Coach Dooley to Coach Fly, I think it's been seamless. I think that FGCU with the young guards and a team now where in the past we were built on transfers, and we still have a few key transfers left on this team. But I think that we're trying to build to the point where we have 4-year guards, 4-year forwards. A guy like Brian Thomas, we can build up. He had a hell of a freshman year, but he's getting bigger and bigger, growing into his body. As a senior, who knows? The sky's the limit. But when it comes to building this team the right way, talking about the zone defense, the 40 minutes of hell Coach Fly runs, that's what we're looking for in a team like this. Obviously the Lipscomb game is what it is in the championship game of the A-Sun, but that pressure, if we had that kind of pressure earlier, who knows? I think this season we'll see a lot more of that, and I think that FGCU's team right now, is young, and obviously Lipscomb looks like the team to beat, but all it takes is that pressure. Lipscomb had trouble in the past, and Lipscomb is built on the same team when it comes to that kind of pressure. So I'm excited. I know we have plenty of non-conference left with the Gulf Coast Showcase, and tonight with South Dakota State, who honestly, guys, this is a huge game for FGCU. You've got a premier mid-major team coming in here. Mike Dahm is an absolute monster. He's a double-double machine, and when it comes to a guy like that down low, Phil Fain from Illinois State and Michigan State's forward, I forgot right now. Yeah. They went off against our forward, so it's gonna be a situation where I like a guy like Baxter. Honestly, I like a guy like Baxter who's athletic, shoot the three. He can play down low though too. He's got the body to play against a guy like Mike Dahm. And honestly, South Dakota State, when it comes to their guards, they bring sophomores. This is a team that right now Mike Dahm's averaging 23 points a game, which we know what we got with Mike Dahm. But when it comes to David Jenkins and Skylar Flatton, those are two other players that, when it comes to averaging points, almost 60 points between three guys. So this should be a high-scoring game for FGC and South Dakota State. South Dakota State's always in the tournament. They bring a disciplined approach to the game, and I think that FGCU needs to start out early, honestly, guys. We need the guards to show up. We need Christian Carlisle scoring like he scored against Michigan State. When it comes to down low, Brady Ernst played some damn good defense, and
I'd like to see him match up against one of their forwards too, if it's not going to be against Mike Dom. But huge game tonight, guys. This is the campus game of the Gold Coast Showcase. So we're all going to be there. Matt's going to be there. I'll be there. Dana Caldwell, Jay Webb's going to be calling the game. So it's a can't miss game. And honestly, when it comes to Colorado Sports Insiders, we get guys like Matt Rockman writing great articles and really putting in the time for FGCU. So if you guys need to check his work out, you can find him on Twitter. Right? Twitter. What's your hashtag?
It's Matt Rothman 9.
Matt Rothman. So at Colorado Sports Insider too, guys. So if you guys need an article, you can look to Dana and you can look to Colorado Sports Insider. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Good stuff, bro. I'll talk about SPSC, but I'll talk about SPSC and just knock it out. Can I get did we get a picture? Want to get a picture? Just act like you're doing whatever.
And are you getting for the drinks
Hey, how are you?
You guys do this one.
Yeah, come on. So what are you doing now?
I just registered my house. Oh, am I good?
Oh, okay. What's up, man? Jeff. You nice to meet you.
Yeah, both of them.
Awesome, dude.
You good? Sure.
We're wrestling on this. Which one?
Yeah.
I'll get this tickets. Pretty good. What? All the other guys that are here. They get to learn something new now. Yeah. We're gonna do a rap. See, it's signed by the whole team, but
I think we have with your. Sorry.
you're good.
Just write your phone number
Sunday. Just write your name later. My name? Yep, what's your name? Yes, what are you talking about, bro? What do you want to call that thing that called
You had it.
No, not yet. So interview or anything.
But if not, I'll probably start this summer like that.
We got a question for you. She wants to know how are you doing on Grapple, like a writing.
Just their name, yeah, just their name. You can put them all in.
Or their Instagram name. I told them like follow you.
Yeah. Just follow us and then show you or show them, and then put their name on the back, and then we'll put the tickets in here. Yeah, I was gonna say if you want, yeah, just.
They'll do it. They don't make sure they do that.
We appreciate it. And you always look forward to doing the podcast. You're doing fine. Yeah. Oh, really? There's ways to have them. Just say, let it know to basically, and if they want extra information, just tell them. Something they don't tell them like, hey, alright, so what are you talking about? We just talked about how you like remember everything when it comes to the stats. Like what number was that on board for you? It's free. Free stats in the intro. It's the brings the operation. Nate just a joke about the fact that
Last year,
I'm doing numbers, but I'm a little excited. Two public service guys.
the games are all boring.
Yes. It's honestly been fun.
I never even thought of that. I had to pay $20 for 2 games.
$5. Yeah. Alright, so we got 6 of these balls. Look at that, bro. He approved this post? Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Is this Instagram? So yeah, we call it, you know, the hashtag, right?
Yeah.
I think do me a favor and just send me the list.
Yeah, I think we can beat
Send it to
Toledo.
group chats, what do you
For
think?
sure. I think we definitely made the finals. South Dakota State won stuff. Yeah. I probably could make the Wednesday game for sure.
Do the tip, you should put your hashtag.
Hello.
Like comment the hashtag. Because it kind of like makes it.
What is Dana?
If you
Dana?
want to use it on the cross, I have friends that like do this for like really like so like you just add it right. They gotta do it like right after you post it. Because so it's the top.
But
And that way, like you just it's like
my heart.
After the post, you post it, put in the comment, put a comment, and put in hashtag.
That would rock me last. The way you left.
The whole group chat? Yeah, good.
I think if we won that game against Let's Come Beat Days, most likely.
Alright, so.
You guys together? Any good dinner today? Yeah. How's your name? Gonna be
Yeah.
16.
No, you want to talk about Gulf Coast Showcase with me?
Sure.
Are you familiar with the teams and stuff?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you able to do like a bracket?
Hey.
Like,
Right, I can-
like
I
do you
can
know
make-
enough to fill out a bracket?
Yeah, I can fill out a bracket, see who wins or not, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, you're right.
Yeah, that's South Dakota State.
Okay.
And then you got FGCU.
Am I previewing all the games? Or just-
All
the games?
Yeah, we'll let you fill out a whole bracket. Where's my pen?
Austin.
I don't have it. I wasn't there.
Oh, here it is.
Even when I did live here,
I know.
okay, somehow I like playing.
Alright, slide over a little bit so you're in frame. Alright guys, I got Noah here. We're going to be talking some Gulf Coast Showcase. So we're going to have him fill out a bracket, and then we're going to compare to the bracket that I previously filled out that we covered during our podcast where we broke down the whole Gulf Coast Showcase. So yeah, if you could just walk us through your thought process on each game. So we'll just kind of start at the top and talk about the South Dakota State two-game game.
Yeah, I think South Dakota State will probably easily win this game. Lane is a young team. South Dakota State is very experienced. They were a 12th seed in last year's tournament. They played really well. They're an experienced team. They know how to play as a team. They know how to play in these type of tournaments that are with other teams and on quick days and no rest really. So I have South Dakota State winning this game pretty easily actually. UC Irvine and UTSA. I have UTSA winning this game. I just believe that UC Irvine, again, the experience is not there. UTSA has plenty of experience. They have big guys at center. I got UTSA winning a close one.
Yeah, I had that game really close too. I actually picked UCI to win that game, but I did not pick them to go past the next part of the bracket, the semifinal, and to beat South Dakota State. I think that Mike Dahm is just such a transcendent player that they're going to win or be the runner-up in this tournament.
For Louisiana and Colorado State, I have Colorado State. It's just that they have a lot to ride on. They had an okay season last year. They're trying to build on that. Louisiana is an okay team. They lost a lot of players, a lot of seniors, and those are experienced players. So I have Colorado State in that one.
Okay, and then you get to the game that we all care about the most, right?
Yeah.
FGCU.
I think FGCU should win this one pretty easily. Toledo is an inferior opponent by a lot. They're having a decent season this year. They're 2-1, but they have I don't know. They weren't very good last year. They're still somewhat young. FGCU, they're still gelling, but I think after tonight's game against South Dakota State, they will fully be gelled. And they should win a pretty close game, actually.
So I actually picked the opposite. I picked FGCU to beat, Toledo to beat FGCU. Toledo did just beat Oakland, who is a really strong mid-major team. Jalen Sanford is a really, really good player for them, and I believe that he put up significant points in that game. Let's see here. So he put up 30 points in that game against Oakland, where they won. They did lose to Wright State, but I still think, like to your point, it's going to be a closer type of game. But I'm actually predicting them to start to gel towards the end of this tournament, and I really don't think that. I think that Toledo will be the winner of that game behind Jalen Sanford.
Okay, so you want to go from your side of the bracket then too, or mine too?
Yeah, go from the.
Okay, from the top.
Yeah, go from the winning. So fill in what you had.
I think South Dakota State is actually going to win the tournament, or at least be the finalist. They're going to be in the finals, so I have them winning this game. Too big, too experienced, and too much for UTSA. And then moving on, I had
who do you think?
Colorado State and FGCU. I have to go with FGCU again. I mean, I think that they're going to keep gelling game by game, and they're just going to look stronger and stronger. Trey Baxter's looking good every game moving forward, and he's going to keep getting better as he grows the tournament. He's going to be FGCU's best player in this tournament.
Okay, so I actually have, since I did not pick FGCU, I picked Toledo. I have Toledo playing Colorado State, and then I have Colorado State winning out and then losing to South Dakota State in the final and being the tournament champion. And then for the third place game, which for me would be UCI and Toledo, I picked UCI to win that game. So for you, that would be Colorado State playing
UTSA.
UTSA. Yes.
Yeah, I think Colorado State will win that one.
Okay. And then going to the losers side of the bracket, so you would have Tulane versus UCI, and how do you see that game playing out?
UCI wins that one. They're a good team. They're better than Tulane. Tulane is too good.
Yeah, I think that Tulane is the weakest team in this field. And then, I picked the same thing. I picked, even though I have UTSA, I do have UTSA beating Tulane. And then I had Louisiana playing against FGCU with Louisiana beating FGCU. So you would have Louisiana beating Toledo?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So for me, the only game that I have us winning in this tournament is against Tulane, because like we talked about, I think that they're the weakest team in the field. That's my bracket prediction. So you have any comments on like what you're expecting from tonight's game?
I'm expecting to see a little bit more improvement in the chemistry. Just looking better as a team, moving forward with the ball a lot better, playing better defense for sure. We're going to continue playing that good press that we'll keep getting it. We'll look a lot stronger with the turnovers. The turnovers are getting better. We're scoring more than the first few games. We're improving scoring-wise every game. I understand last game was more of a blowout. That's why we were to score more because they were resting a lot of players. But it's still an improvement of the scoring. We had 81 against Southeastern. So it's looking a lot better. The turnovers are going down as well. So I think today I don't know, it'll be a good game. It'll be a close one. I do think we'll probably lose, most likely. This South Dakota State is so good, but since we are at home, it will be a hostile environment. I think we could still pull it off, though. I wouldn't be shocked.
What would you say like your key to the game is?
Key to the game is left turnovers.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Limiting turnovers is such a big thing. We talked about it on the podcast that even if they had just limited the turnovers a little bit, they could have totally had that Illinois State game.
Yeah, for sure. It's, I think over 20 turnovers or something.
Yes, about 22. Yeah. 22 turnovers, I believe.
Yeah. It wasn't pretty, but I think if we can limit the turnovers to under 12 or even 10, I think we should be good.
Yes. I think 12 has kind of historically been the magic number for FGC. Turnover-wise, I think that they've had a few games where they hit in like an 8 to 10 range, and then it usually turns into like a blowout when they hit that.
Yeah, because I mean we have fast and young players. If we can just get less turnovers, I mean we can score a lot quicker, and if we can get those turnovers off defense, that would be even better because we can get those fast breaks with our quick point guards and the big centers.
So who do you think will get put on Mike Dom defensively tonight? Mike Dom, who do you think will be put on him defensively tonight?
I think either Rayshawn Scott or Hanif Tiemann. I know Hanif Tiemann is smaller, but he's still a big guy who can defend him. He's a great defender. Was a great defender at Marquette too, and all defensive players in the conference.
Okay. I'm expecting more like Brady Ernst to actually be put on him. I think that he's been really starting to show himself defensively, and that he'll just continue to evolve, and this could actually be like a breakout type of defensive game for him.
I can see that, yeah.
So any closing comments you want to leave us with about how you see this season going? Or
I see again the over 21 season for sure. I see us winning I don't see us winning the regular season title, but I see us winning the tournament title. I think the experience of Fly being there for so long, I think will help us in the deeper stages of the tournament. I think we can win that one.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about the Gulf Coast Showcase and FGC basketball.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, that's a nice comment. Bruce, he's like a boost. Yeah, he's up. He's like going to FGC, my other school. I probably won that years for Rob. Yeah, you and Rob would go on. I don't think we've seen that. Just gonna say again, all these puts some water in there. Yeah, Fort Myers. There's a lot less students, but it's a little bit like 500. What's awesome about what we were talking about? We're gonna have some video from the shoot around.
What time? Well, I mean, normally I don't really have time. Get stuff on read, but like I can do some stuff like something to help without having to charge. But like, so what time is it?
Sure, we're going to pray, so that was easy.
I'm trying to think like by the time. Like when we do,
It's like
when we do.
post highlights from the shoot around. Yeah, we can post it when I keep it rushing.
Okay, well then if that's the case, yeah.
Maybe just like nice little transition with something content. Do your autograph. Maybe something good to be.
Well, it'll be fun, like if I get, dying, like just to like bring my camera.
It's not my first
I get some like really good quality stuff. That'd be cool.
Chase your fire. So why is he the first to go? I get far less than you. Hey, Rob, you're fired too. Okay, hey, Dawson, we're already on the same quality.
I'm not good with that word.
You say that, then it's not hard to get on here. I'm not either. I just keep that. I keep like good text. It's easier when you're not on camera, but I just figured out ways for any problems and everything right there. It's easy. That's how I operate it. You know, stats guy, stats bitch. But all right. Rob? Can I enter around?
Yeah, of course.
All right, guys. Next guest up is Rob Bell, and Rob has been our EaglesNestcast.com since the beginning. But what he's doing for us is he's putting out images. You see the halftime scores, you see the final scores, you see "Welcome to Eagles Nestcast, welcome to Dunk City." That's all Rob Bell. So I'm gonna let Rob come on here and tell exactly what he's been doing this season for Eagles Nestcast.
So I've come on and say hey to everybody. I'm not good like these guys are with the stats and the commentary and stuff, so you don't really hear me that much, but I'm definitely involved behind the scenes, and I enjoy doing the graphics side, like you were saying. So this year you can expect some like improved graphics and some just make sure keep you guys in the loop with the events that are coming up, and also just give you a heads up on what's going on during the game. So excited to be part of the team here. It's good. You guys are in good hands here with the commentary from Jeff. So
and all the other guests that come on today.
Sure.
And Rob is a public servant for Lee County too, just so you guys know. So when he's doing these graphics, he could possibly save your life too. So I want to welcome Rob to the brand, and we're excited to have Rob come on this year and bring you guys even better pictures when it comes to video footage, stuff like that. Rob's your guy, so say hi on the night of the game.
I understand this one. I understand.
Rob, 20 comments, bro. I love you. You could be the substitute. You're not. I think you guys are yourself. Yeah, I said okay. And that's funny. I figured out that it wasn't like that, right? Where I could chop everything out around this. That would be cool. I like that one, man. That's like yeah, you're working all day. It was like 11:30 at night. I'm sitting there at the desk. After writing our report, I'm like clicking on things. I eventually got so tired. I was like, all right. I wish I could have gotten to work. I slept at 2 o'clock. I get the
You're doing this?
Stole their mom's car. Driving down the street.
The other way. All right, guys, you got Nate and Chase here talking some more FGC basketball. We got, let's just talk a little bit about tonight's game some more and talk about, some impact players.
I think Christian Carlisle is going to continue his nice Michigan State. He had 20 points. I see him trying to get by this role. He likes to drive with their hand and finish, and I think he's going to play a big part in this game.
Yeah, he's been averaging 10.3 points per game, which I think is really solid for him. I think that's a nice step in the right direction. I would like to see him increase that point average, and of course, most of that is actually from the Michigan State game since he scored 20 points in that game. And that's inflating his scoring average.
Also, I'd like to see better 3-point, closeout defense. We're giving up so many open threes, in my opinion.
So, in addition to Mike Dom, who's a double-double machine with South Dakota State, we also have a couple other impact players from South Dakota State, including David Jenkins, who's also averaging 17.7 points per game, to Mike Dom's 23. So between those two, you have about 40 points being scored per game, and then you have two more players averaging double-figure scoring in Skylar Flatten and Matt Bentlinger.
Dude, I got Baker Mayfield. I knew. I was like, I know.
So with all these scoring threats, we're gonna have to have some major people step into the defensive roles. Who are you expecting is going to really step up defensively?
I think Red Baxter's going to have to starting Mike Dom. We can limit him as much as possible. I think, we can live with other players doing well. We don't want Mike Dom going off.
Yeah, he probably is.
I think Troy Baxter might put on him at most of the time if he doesn't get into foul trouble. He's been having a little bit of foul trouble, so if he can withstand that, Troy Baxter.
So for me, the people that I think are going to have to step up defensively is going to be the backcourt more. I want to see a lot more defensive intensity from Caleb Caddo and from Zach Scott. We're really going to have to do a lot of work in the backcourt because when you're stopping the backcourt, they can limit South Dakota State feeding to Mike Dom a little bit. So if they can kind of play a little bit more transition defense and kind of stop the ball getting down the court, maybe play a little bit more press and a little more intensive press, and just kind of grab some steals and stuff. Like, don't worry about protecting the rim. Don't worry about Mike Dom, but I would rather see them actually just try and stop them even from feed into Mike Dom and enable his scoring. So kind of take a different route.
I think either way, it's going to be a good test.
Yeah, especially since, like we said, we got Skylar Flatton, who's averaging 13 points per game, and he's also averaging 6 assists. So he's one of their guards, so he'll be looking to feed Mike Dom a little bit, and then you have Tevin King, who's averaging 8 assists per game, 8 assists and 9.7 points per game. So if you can limit those guys that are just feeding the ball down to the feet to Mike Dom and just try and stop him that way, I think that'll help a little bit. Of course, Mike Dom, even though we talk about that he's a double-double player, he's almost averaging a triple-double in that he is averaging 9 assists a game on top of the 20 points and the rebounds that he's pulling down. So, it could be even just that, he's kicking it out to them and they're hitting threes. So if they're really limiting that backcourt and not letting them feed it out to Mike Dom, then I think that they can stop a lot of the scoring just before it even gets to a point that they would have to worry about it.
That's all. Also, David Jenkins. He's a threat. He's a big threat.
Yeah.
In my opinion. We need to eliminate as much as we can.
Yeah, so he's a sophomore guard. So like we said, that backcourt, you've got David Jenkins, you've got Tevin King, and you've got Skylar Flatton. So those are 3 guys that are just getting a lot of assists. Between all 3 of them, you have an average of 16 assists per game, which is basically all of Mike Dom's scoring. Would translate directly into that. So if they could just really kind of stop those guys in the backcourt, stop that ball feed out to Mike Dom, I think it'll be a good thing.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you.
Did you really? What was that?
That's really money.
Okay. So we're at Wally's Deli. Get that San Carlos burrito. It's really good stuff. And do you have any closing comments for leading us into tonight?
I'm looking for a big turnout. We gotta get loud. We gotta make it as tough as we can on this experienced NCAA tournament team, and confident we're gonna pull it out.
Okay, so thanks, Chase. We'll we're gonna take another break, and we should have J-Web joining us shortly on the podcast.
You have to show them. It was funny that you were like, what'd you get that in? What? Did you get that in? It's still trash. Yeah, because we're You know me. I would come out here just for this. Miller Titan. Miller Titan good. Big long pass. Aaron Rodgers is training in college. He's the first touchdown. So I don't know. See, that's all it takes them. That's like a random week like that with some guy. He'll never score the rest of the year. Yeah. I just picked it up. He's been out for a while and I was just saying, I just need somehow ban. Because I picked a team with great music and ban Jordan. They're both consistent. They are consistent. We should get out there and talk about should we have a football team? I would love to have a team. I think we should. That'd be the end of my comment here. I think we should have it for a while because I love football. It's fun.
I will.
You got me, bro. You sure? I know Still got to calm down. All right, calm down. Dude, Jason is straight real on that group chat. That's what he says. I'm like, why is he mean? That's fun. It's funny, some of the things he says, and that's been a really live group chat though. Like I really enjoyed it this year for the first time. Yeah, I put it on mute for like a day while I was on work because I got tired of my pocket just while I was on calls, and I forgot about it. And it was like 4 days. And I was like, oh, you're right. That kid looks like he probably worked hard. How long? We have photo hours. That kid's gonna join us all. Yeah. It's so nice. It's all like, because I'm picking up for this. It's I'm out. I think I take Jason. He's very soft. You know how
Once Jay Webster, I think you guys some questions.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whenever you need us.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that now? You can do that now.
I was just gonna wait for my sandwich. Unless you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to. Okay, yeah.
We got plenty of time, bro. When I was here, I was like, no, Friday class. They have to like everything else. It's been a good learning experience. Yeah, we'll sit down today. We'll have a conversation after it and talk about things we can do for the next week. We're already doing a January plan. We can definitely I like it's how they do that. Like, if you're not I think this is you do that, it has to be an office. What's that? You can get like my brother's wife. Her parents are from the company. That's why they make t-shirts, make all kinds of stuff. You can recommend the beers. Yes. You and then the pod, and then it's dedicated people. Finding a beer. For our next segment, finding an next beer. I want to get kids and grandmas that buy a cup and we call my first beer. Well, Nate does the best. Nate goes, and for our next segment, finding a new beer. Hey guys, here with it. When I have the background, they'll be like pouring a cup. Like, well, these guys love to get them. My first beer. That's the name of the second, my first beer. Yeah, not like that. Because Nate loves craft beer. You know that. That's a different podcast. He doesn't do it. Y'all for a beer podcast. Oh, you can tell me. You remember me? You remember me before my dad came? How much I was smoking a cigarette? I put up my whole floor because I couldn't. I was like, it's all back in the day, and I was trying to quit. It's the hardest thing I ever did.
I don't know, I've just been leaving it up.
Gonna be 8:75. You want to do the today?
The Drake concert was Gucci made.
Yeah, it's not kind of the whole thing.
Yeah. Chicken, tomato, guys. How's it going?
Let's do it when the Travis Scott's when we go to the next schedule. Tracy said sorry. We don't know for sure if all four of us are going to be sitting down there, or if they not supposed to. I was assuming, I mean, you told them all, guys are idiots. You know me. Oh. Oh, Travis, yeah. I said maybe.
we're visual too.
We'd like to welcome our good friend Jay Webb Horton next to Pregame with the Experts. Jay Webb, thanks for coming on, brother. We're excited to have you on with us. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about Coach Fry. Let's talk about what do you think of this team 3 games in?
Well, obviously they got to rebound. I mean, one of the things to me, when I was doing my prep, noticed that they were like minus 29 in rebounds. And Michigan State game showed a difference there, even though it was sort of the score doesn't indicate a lot. Definitely in the Illinois State game, they were, actually the turnovers and lack of rebound. So for them to be in the ball game with South Dakota State, they're going to have to rebound, and they're going to have to keep their turnovers between 9 to 11.
Yeah, and 9 to 11 is something we consider solid. When you get to 12 plus, which they've been at, it's unforced errors, and those lead to fast breaks. And when you got a guy like Mike Dom, you got David Jenkins, Skylar Platt. These guys can play. We have 3 guys that are averaging almost 60 points. Some of these games FGCU can be involved in could be 60 to 70 points for their whole team. So for us to excel against SDSU, rebounding is going to be huge. Dom is going to get his down low. He's going to get his, but let's talk about a secret weapon we could possibly put in.
Well, to me, the X factor could be Troy Baxter Jr. because he's a big-time player. And all the plaudits that are going towards Mike Dom, he deserves it. 2-time Summit Player of the Year. The guy is 62 points from breaking the all-time scoring record at South Dakota State. And their SID does a great job out there. They have like this running sort of comparison between Don and Timmer, who played at BYU, and then Doug McDermott. And he is right on the same level. Is that translating to going to the next level? But I think Baxter, I don't think you want to put Baxter on the guard because he gets some foul trouble. He can't help it.
Exactly.
Now, if you keep the ball out of the big boy's hands, because if he would have scored out of basketball, that'd be the first time history of basketball. Yes, in the history of the world of basketball. So if he doesn't get the ball, he can't score. So I'm sure that the defense is going to be maybe getting in front with hands and then coming with double teams. And if he gets within 5 foot of the basket, it's over. So you got to get him 8 to 9 feet out, and then if he gets the ball, come with a double team. Now he's a pretty good passer also, because he averaged about 5 or 6 assists a game.
That's my next point too. And you got mobile big men like that that can distribute the ball, he can score the ball. He's pretty much, when it comes to mid-major forwards, this is a premier mid-major forward coming into the league arena. And with this FGCU team, young team, some senior laden backcourt, which we weren't sure how that was going to work out. But let's talk about from the Michigan State game, the technical foul, the ejection, of Cheatham, and it is what it is on that. But I've been really surprised with Cedric.
So Cedric, right? And we have people here at Wally's, which is a great place to go. And we'll taste the food, guys, and see if it meets that. It passes the smell test. Now we got to see if it passes the meat test. But so if you went to the playground and you saw Casper, would you pick him?
No,
you wouldn't pick him, would you? And then you're gonna be kicking yourself because he's laying 30 on you.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's one of those players that doesn't pass the eye test, but passes the play test. And he was 6 for 7 from 3 in the game against Illinois State. And he just goes out and plays. Never does his decorum change. You don't know if he's made 7 in a row or missed 7 in a row, which I don't think would ever happen. And I know we were talking before we came on the air here. The guards really could be the difference in this game tonight because they have good guards. Well, they have a good team first.
It was a solid team.
But one of the things that happens, sometimes the inability to get the ball into the post. So hands up, trying to get deflections, or denying the entry level pass. So you got your hands up trying to deflect, and then the defender, you want to play in front. Now, obviously, if we had Ray Sean Scott Jr. or Brian Thomas, then you have bodies that can go bang. But maybe Ricky Doyle says, you know what, I'm ready in this game to be the man.
I think we're ready for Ricky Doyle to be a man.
At 6'10", he has the length to really man up on.
Yep. And Ricky Doyle too. Ricky Doyle, he's in his senior year too, so this is it for Ricky Doyle. And if he wants to, go off on a run, and who knows, we might see Ricky Doyle on, when it comes to like dog. You might see a little bit of everything. I don't know if we're gonna see a zone in the beginning, so I'm interested to see what Coach Fly draws up for this matchup because we haven't seen as much of the 40 minutes of hell yet. I know we're building up the backcourt, and I know the press is coming and stuff like that, but this is a huge major game, the campus game of the Gulf Coast Showcase. So to see what Coach Fly puts in, and we'll be going to shoot around after this. We're really interested to see this team up close. I guess for us, the first time to see them up close. So we're excited to see Baxter up close and Casimir and all the new kids.
Well, remember this. One of the great acquisitions by Coach Fly, not on the players' side, but Donnie Marsh. Now, Donnie Marsh, for those people who don't know, is an unbelievable 30 years in the business. So the year that Indiana beat Gonzaga, I can't remember their studs. It was Adam somebody. 6'9", prototype like Mike Dunn. He designed a way to hold him to 14 points. And when you have a coach like that, who's seen and been on a big level, that's the year Indiana went to the Final Four. Mike Davis took over from Bobby Knight. So I would imagine Coach Marsh has something to make the Jackrabbits not be Jackrabbits.
I love it. And Jay Webb, with that being said, the game being played on the court can be almost as big as the game being played off the court. So in practice, if you've got guys, if you want to call them, not decoys, but, hey, this is what Mike Don likes to do. You see what he likes to do. You kind of try to mimic him as much as you can for a guy with that height, that weight. Marsh is going to be huge. That's a huge point to bring up because that's something we haven't brought up either until you brought it up. I think Dana talked about it too when he was in with us. And when it comes to coaching, look at the staff that Coach Fly put together. Bringing Joey Cantons back.
Well, Joey Cantons is on his own outstanding coach. I mean, he's been with I think, Calipari down in the DR. He's been in Germany. That guy is one of those people who just fills up his passport. Some of us, we have one sheet right on our passport. The guy's like, I got to turn this passport in, not because it's expired. There's no more places to put the stamps.
That's true, man. He's got all filled up.
So you got Joey, you've got Justin Furr, who came over from Barry. Also, is a really solid coach. Great ties for recruiting. So, Coach Fly did the thing that people see. Sometimes coaches get egos. They want to be the man. Larry Bird, when he went to Indiana, who he had, Rick Carlisle. He had those kinds of people with him who did defense and offense. So. The coaching staff.
The staff around you is huge, and we look at this FGCU team going into the season. Obviously, when you look at the ASUN, Lipscomb, all the killers are back. When it comes to Garrison, Rob Marbury, you name it, they're back. The pressure in the ASUN final, when the FGC finally brought the pressure, rattled them. So you got a lot of the same players at Lipscomb. You got the newcomer Liberty, the newcomer Scotty James, and that group on the block. Which Scotty James is a hell of a player.
Liberty. First of all, they print their own money up at Liberty. I'm telling you, they got 1 million students. I don't know what their student athletic fee is, but they have from what I understand, they have a hockey arena up there, 5,000 seat. Do they have a hockey team? I mean, who's
using that arena?
I don't know. Maybe it must be a nice place to go stay.
That's what I'm saying.
But Liberty, they have the resources, they have the facilities, and they are going to be a force. Now, Lipscomb, love their coaching staff up there, love their players. But here could be the caveat that people don't talk about. You know, last year FGC was the hunted one.
That's true.
Now who's the hunter? So sometimes when you're the hunter, it's easier to be a hunter than be hunted, and it's a different pressure because they are supposed to come in. They have 5 players back, and the 6 man started. Who started? He was out. I can't think of his name. So it's sometimes being hunted, you sometimes play different. But I look forward to that game.
Yeah, you guys have to mark that game on your calendar too, because when it comes to tape, this FGC basketball team looks a lot different from last year when it comes to scheming. Obviously Lipscomb and a lot of other kids, JU, Tony Jazz, they're keeping the same coach. Look at JU Note. You look at what they're doing, Jalen Hinton. JU, honestly, they're 0-3 right now. You throw out non-conference, it is what it is. These kids are going to grow. But I looked at JU last season, and they were most improved in my book.
Well, I thought they did. And Tony Jazz, who coached in the same conference as South Dakota State. He was at IP. That conference has some of the great nicknames. You got the Mastodons. You got Jackrabbits and Mastodons. Well, first of all, the Mastodon is a creature from out of the Ice Age. I coached there. Mascot could not dance. So when you have those big feet, it's hard to get your groove on.
That's a fact.
But JC does a great job. They lost to FAMU, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They're 0-3. I think that when I looked at the standings, I'm looking. Liberty played 1 game. It is what it is there. But I look at Scotty James at Liberty. I look at Lipscomb. I personally look at JU. I never write UNF off either.
No.
They're willing to shoot. They're going to shoot it 40 times a game. And they're going to just keep shooting until something happens.
If you play for Driscoll, one of the things you need is ice for your elbow after a game because there's no restrictions. And this is the conference is getting better. The coaches, the coaches are solid. And last year to go undefeated for FGCU on the road, that's amazing. They had more trouble at home than on the road, didn't they?
They did, and it's interesting too. You brought that up because I personally think when you look at this conference, Alico is a tough place to play. Obviously, Allen Arena, they got what they have going on. Liberty brings another big arena. It's interesting. You add Liberty, you add UNA, and they're two totally different teams at 2 totally different. When it comes to D1, UNA, this is kind of going against Gonzaga. They really are going for it. It's a young team, but Liberty's a team that is ready now. They're a team that's ready to play now. I think that they're going to surprise. Lipscomb would be the 100. FGCU is FGCU. They have the name, but you have to look for Liberty. You have to look for JU. But when it comes to NJIT, this bottom of the conference looks a lot different, but they can still surprise some people.
Well, we need to see what happens at Stetson. Because I think Corey does a great job coaching. They just didn't seem to click last year at all. 2 years ago. Remember, they were one Zach Johnson from not going to the NCAA because they didn't qualify because of the APR. But, that was a huge block by Zach Johnson.
The scoring block on the CJ Webb. In overtime, too. So this game went to overtime. He makes the block. FGCU goes on. But talking more about Stetson, I thought that Stetson team last year was the best when it comes to Divine Miles, Luke Doyle, Rivera. They had the players. And I talked with Divine after senior night when we were down there at Stetson. And off the record, we were talking a little bit. Just a solid guy, solid teammate, the guy you want leading your team at guard. And you kind of feel for the guy. You're like, this guy, he did it 4 years. He chose over DePaul and a lot of other teams. He chose Stetson. And I personally look this season, I'm wondering, is Coach Alexander, is he on the hot seat?
It's all about winning, isn't it?
It is. It's
good people, unfortunately, sometimes get fired.
Yeah.
But I would hope not. Corey, but hey, you got to roll them out and play.
You do. They have a really young team this season too. You replace 4 or 5 off the bat seniors. I like Christian Jones. I think he's a solid player. I think they can build around him. Looking at Stetson, though,
facility-wise too. It's just you go through DeLand and there's not too much, and you try to bring these players into a D1 team, which is tough enough itself for recruiting. But to get the players they've got, obviously he's got some recruiting going, and it's a team that you might look in a few years, but it is win now. Is that could possibly play into the hands of? We talk about Al Skinner too. Al Skinner at KSU, he could be looking too.
And there's another thing with flat out.
It's a really nice school. It's just like
See, sometimes it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. And if you don't got the Jimmies and the Joes, you can draw up all kinds of plans, and you don't have people to execute. One of the things that Stetson, as you said, because they've had both their men and women's programs this year. But for them to get the players they brought says they can recruit. Because when you walk into that gym at Stetson, and I'm not dogging Stetson, I'm just saying, all of a sudden you're thinking about Hoosiers. The movie. I mean, we're thinking about a field house out of the maybe the 60s. So I think that if they can upgrade their facilities, it would help, because we know Lynn Bria can coach. But think about it last year, just on the women's side. Hey, if those two big girls don't go down, they're a force against JU or against FGC. That big girl that was out there, her name's escaping me right now, so I've been focusing on the men. But the thing is that she had really gotten better. She shoot the 15-foot jump shot, could block people inside, and then the freshman went down from there. But I like both Lynn and I like Corey, and we wish them well.
Yeah. It's nothing personal.
Except not against the Eagles.
When it's against the Eagles those two times, FGC is going to get that money, get those wins. But when it comes to as people, they're good people. For Coach Skinner, you wonder though too with Boston College and the prestige and his resume. He has a heck of a resume. But will it translate? Masterson's gone. This is a really young ASU team. He was great.
Skinner before that, he was at URI. Would have still been there. It had to been a little dispute over contract.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's you look at the rest of the ASON, you've got 9 teams and kind of totally different, separate stories when it comes to win now, what's next year. NJIT, let's look at NJIT. That's another coach too. They have a brand new facility down there.
Great facility.
Great. They're trying to replace Anthony Tark, who left for UTEP. So that's a huge. We love Anthony Tark too in the podcast, and trying to replace Anthony Tark's minutes and
he went to Texas El Paso.
Yeah. So he's gone, and that guy's a double machine. Talk about Mike Dom, another double machine. But you're rebuilding a lot of these teams, and when you look at the teams in Florida, UNF and JU, and I see the same players, same faces, same coaches. But let's see what happens with that. FGCU goes into the Gold Coast Showcase tonight. It's a campus game, so you won't see it on the bracket. But they have an opportunity to play South Dakota State basketball twice.
Yes.
So.
If you're a coach, you're like, I don't mind seeing Jackrabbits once, but twice? No. If you get 2 wins, you're like, I loved it.
Had the resume.
Had the resume because it is. And down the road when they start that selection, those wins. Because remember last year, losing to Middle Tennessee and then just stinking up the place up at Kent State. I mean, those are films that coaches just want to go like this.
Just throw it out.
I don't want to watch.
You get rid of that. And
I mean, there's kids. Kids start crying. They start watching, especially that Kent State game. Dear Lord.
Let's talk
about. No, not Kent State. I'm sorry. Bowling Green.
The Bowling Green game too. The last shot going down the court. It's a heck of a loss. We looked at the non-conference last year and we're like, okay, let's swipe it clean, get the conference play. Obviously, this conference play for non-conference FCC is going to be huge because you're going to get minutes. You're seeing minutes for Cato. You're seeing minutes for Scott, and in the past you might not see as many freshmen.
Zach Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, future stars. I mean, we love Bernard Thompson, but this kid can make you forget Bernard Thompson. His stroke is solid. It looks like he can play a little defense. I love him. I'll tell you who else can be right is Demirio Imperius. The FGCU team, they've got to be good enough by hitting threes. I mean, they're not shooting threes very well. And here's the other Achilles. 63% from the free throw. I mean, you can't do that, can you?
That's like the fundamentals, J-Web, when you look at the, it's free throws, it's rebounding, and it's second chance baskets. And when it comes to FGC and the three, you got a guy like Casimir who can shoot the three.
Right.
You got some players out there, and we're curious too. He'll disappear, but some games, 5 or 6 games, he'll hit 4 or 5. So it's droves from the three. I think in the Illinois State game we saw a lot of threes. When it comes to playing inside, that's my biggest thing right now. I thought the Achilles might be the guards right now with the injuries. I think it might be down low. When you're looking at Ray still out and Thomas out to a conference play. So you get 2 big bodies back. I don't know any updates on Ray, but I'm hoping very soon.
I think in the next couple of weeks they'll be back.
Okay, perfect.
Because once again, you want to have them ready for the conference.
Yes.
But
Healthy.
if you got it as a team, you got to be 75%. Now, you're going to have some people that can't get free throws. Just get them out of the game in pressure. Come here, sit out. But to be 63%, because you can go in the gym by yourself.
That's true.
Because it's a free throw. It's not like people are waving at you.
It's you in the basket. Yeah,
you in the basket.
And I think that too, Carlisle has to show up in the big games too. And that's a player in his junior year. I think Christian Carlisle could go off any second.
Let me tell you, there's your glue. He's glue. He really is. Because if you told him to go guard Shaquille O'Neal, he just have his hand in his back. And you're just like, someone tells me to go guard Shaquille O'Neal, I'm like, I'm good, man. Remember in the league, a lot of centers in the NBA, if you go back and look, a lot of starting centers didn't play against Shaq. My buddies in the league would tell me they would call it like Shaq flu. Be like, we played the Lakers. I'm not feeling good. They go, Jones got Shaq flu. But hopefully, guys like Carlisle, you can just see his confidence growing. He's silent, doesn't say a lot, just gets out and gets out. So you got people like him and Casimir. I tell you, Cheatham is also. I saw him he was laying down threes pretty well yesterday in practice. So.
Yeah, and I think that, you look at that projection for it is what it is. You drop it, you're ready for South Dakota State, and you got Cheatham as a senior.
Not ejection, that was on it was. I'll back through that again.
Yeah. So the ejection basically that they call on Cheatham. Where are they going with that in Michigan State? Is it the zone? Is there some type of? We can talk about that too. That's another segment. But when it comes to Hannah, really, they calling that soft, and then down low with when it comes to Brady Ernst, and he's playing defense, man. That's what I'm thinking about that. There's nothing more to that. But when it comes to that Michigan State game, they still put up 82 points on Michigan State, which that's not easy to do on the road. And you look at the first media break, FGCU, Baxter hitting the three. Yeah, you look at Baxter, 3 years of Baxter. If he keeps playing for 3 years, that kid is going to develop into a superstar, I think, personally.
Well, tonight's going to be a big night. There's going to be NBA scouts are going to be there. I know our friend Bob McAdoo will be here. Bob is in the building. His son, transferred to North Carolina. He's sitting out. Just saw a picture of him on the cover of an Italian magazine. How does if you're a red shirt and a walk-up, how do you get a magazine cover, man? I'm like, dang, God, I was working on my Italian.
I'm just trying to get in the game.
I'm trying to get off the bench.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so we're excited. J-Web's working with David Moulton, Tom James. And
tonight it's Weezy. We got Tom Weezy James coming in.
Weezy's in the house tonight?
Weezy's in the house. He's doing double duty. He's doing the first game with Pete Lonergan.
Oh, wow.
And then, which gives me a time to, just sit around and watch you guys do stuff on the women's game.
We're cool with that.
So you guys will be there on good seats.
Best seats in the house.
Best seats in the house.
We can't complain. And the last question is,
8 o'clock game. Where do you go for dinner after, Jay Webb?
I'll tell you what, let's hope we have a running clock because Connor's closes about 10:30.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this. Jay Webb was our final host today. We love having him. Watch the game tonight. Go to the game. Follow us on social media. Thanks for coming out.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.